afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Telecom Review's virtual panel, which is powered by SES, the world's leading content connectivity provider. The panel will focus on the topic of revolutionizing connectivity through innovation. The panelists will discuss how to deliver efficient network communication, satellite innovations leading the digital transformation journey, achieving digital inclusion in addition to other topics. I would like to thank all our speakers for today and our moderator, Andrea Fagiano, partner Telecom Information, Media and Electronic Practice Lead for Arthur Bilater Middle East. Last but not least, allow me to thank SES for sponsoring this virtual panel about this digital connectivity. I give the floor now to Andrea to start the discussion. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you to Telecom Review for organizing this panel with the leaders in connectivity in Middle East. I had the luck to work with many organizations, many of them, so I'm pretty acquainted with the dynamics and of the market. So I've been working in the telecom sector for 20 years now, and what impressed me is that connectivity has been always a fresh topic, because every 5 years we have seen so much technology innovation, so much a new approach to business model and commercial model, that connectivity has never been a boring topic. And the Middle East is, I mean, I see with my eyes of a management consultant many things happening across all the region. Today we have 5 fantastic panelists. So let me introduce to you each of them. We have Hamid Nawaz. Hamid, a general manager of Middle East and Central Asia for SES Satellite. Welcome. We have George Jaber, Vice President of Wholesale Business Development of Salam ITC, Saudi Arabia. We have Kamil Ilali, Chief Strategy Officer of Zain Group and CEO of Zain Global Services. We have Shra Hussain, Chief Commercial Officer of Asiacell. Welcome, Shra. And we have Hani Askar, General Manager Global Business at Batelco. Hi, Hani. Nice to meet you all here today. So as Tony was saying, the topic today is about connectivity and about the revolution that technology is in some way is making in this field. And I'm curious of many things. Each of you is very different. So many of you are with commercial, other with wholesale, other big infrastructure, other retail. So each of you has a very different perspective about the topic. Okay, but let me tell you where I would start from, because in 1998 I started my career, and I started my career in satellite and designing a satellite payload when it was a broadband payload. In those days I was working with Matra Marconi, Telespazio, and those days were the moment of mobile, fiber, many things, and the satellite in the industry at a certain point was almost doomed, because more interesting technology were happening in the terrestrial. 20 years after, satellite has never been more alive. So I would like to start this panel with you. What is going on in satellite? Especially, there is so much buzz about non-geostationary satellites and what they can offer. Can you help us to start this discussion on connectivity from that angle, the satellite industry, what we should expect? What is your lesson learned as a general manager or leading player like SES?
Yeah, thanks, Andrea. So, and thanks Telecom Review for setting this session. So I'm very pleased to share the floor with my learned co-panelists. See, I have been associated with telecom industry like yourself, Andrea, for the last 25 years, and with the focus on solving the problems of connectivity, especially in the far-flung remote areas, where the terrestrial medium is either not reliable enough or not present at all. So my business responsibility at SES, as you have introduced, thanks for that, it is in Middle East and Central Asian region. I must share with you today's topic. Revolutionizing connectivity through innovation is at the heart of what we do at SES, and I'm going to share with you the innovations that we have done. But of course, I will, as you have asked for, I'm going to share with you some developments in the satellite industry, which is really revolutionizing or innovating the way we connect. So we aim to do that. In case of SES, we do aim to do extraordinary in space to deliver amazing experiences on Earth. So what innovations have we either directly driven or embraced to revolutionize connectivity? It's important to know the context of the connectivity we provide. So we connect more than 300 large companies in 130 countries, planes, ships, oil rigs. We restore connectivity after natural disasters. We extend the reach of mobile operators like yourself with their 2G, 3G, 4G rollout. Essentially, we connect the unconnected. And SES has a history of innovation in satellite communications. It started off more on the video side, and it's with DTH services by launching Astra 1A. Fast forward to today, we have 54 geostationary satellites providing TV channels, satellite broadband, mobile backhaul for 2G, 3G, 4G service, and successfully tested for 5G. So talking of innovation, a typical geostationary Earth orbit satellite with its global beam can actually cover 1/3 of the Earth. It's all about reach and reliability, while geo satellites provide excellent coverage. But as introduced by Andrea, there was a time when it started becoming irrelevant, or I would say less relevant, with more innovative terrestrial connectivity means coming in. So it is all about the use cases of today, which require lower latency, higher throughput. And here is where we have been part and parcel of that innovation, O3B, which with acquiring O3B networks, which launched the first commercial communication satellites in the medium Earth orbit satellite. And that is, medium Earth orbit is 8,000 kilometers away from Earth's surface as compared to 36,000 in case of GEO. So by placing the satellites in a lower orbit, the round trip latency was greatly reduced, which enhanced the customer experience of the connected devices and the connectivity. So see, and the throughput of course exponentially multiplied. So after the commercial success of MEO constellation, SES fully acquired O3B networks in 2016, and we quickly started planning for the next generation of innovation, which is O3B Empower. So we know for today that SES is the only satellite operator with commercial successful services both on MEO and GEO orbit. We are addressing different customer applications using MEO or GEO. In some cases, we use both. So the high capacity MEO deployments that we have done for the past 6 years in the Pacific region has enabled smaller economies to flourish without undersea cables. We have established carrier neutral multi-tenant POPs operating in tower aggregation mode to support 3G, 4G backhaul over O3B constellations for MNOs. And to add resilience, we have in few cases geo earth stations as part of the point of presence as well.
Thank you, Amit. If you allow me, we will go back on this because I want to know more about what is the future in front of us. But before going there, I would like to ask Shra, that is on a vast territory like Iraq, and where I think that the right combination of technology and connectivity is an everyday challenge, and also the satellite must play a role more than other countries. So, Shra, what is your experience on this, running the commercial department of Asiacell? Love to know.
Yes, hi everyone. I'm very happy to join this panel today. Actually, as you rightly said, running any operation in Iraq is a challenge because of the lack of the solid infrastructure. for connectivity, and also regionalizations, electricity issues, many political ups and downs that definitely will lead to operators especially to invest in all the domains to make sure that we secure end-to-end connectivity, and we ensure like customer experience is maximized. So for us in Iraq, of course, we are currently running satellite connectivities, but also we see like the opportunity of tomorrow. So we are currently launching satellite that offer broadband internet service will help to drive down the cost of data, especially in Iraq, the cost of the international IP is overpriced versus any other country around us. This was, it will be just a demand for us to invest more and to focus more on the satellite connectivity. Also, we see as too many opportunities in boosting services for B2B when we provide and invest more into this investment. Satellite connectivity tomorrow, we see like we will require us to keep and continue innovating. And it will definitely help us in spectrum and in efficiency. So, we don't have like clear, too many innovations today, but we have, we are setting rules and basis for the future in the satellite connectivity to serve our potential use cases actually.
So, Shra, you are saying that as a any good operator, you are mixing all the technology available in a specific context to provide the best service, right? This is a golden rule that I learned.
Yes, for now, we talk about connectivity as a backup, but for sure, we are investing in future that we should go beyond to serve more and to create and to avail more use cases from this technology.
Yes. So, in this respect, Camilla, I'd like to switch to you because Ashra comes for a very specific market, while you are looking at the multiple market in your position of Chief Strategy Officer. And recently, I've seen that also you have become the CEO of Global Services, which to me seems that also Zain is changing a little bit the skin and changing the approach to connectivity. So moving of new assets, a new type of technology that were less present in the past. So even for you, Zain Group, innovating in connectivity remain on top in the agenda.
Thank you, Andrea. Thank you for the questions, and happy to be in this forum with you guys. You're right. Zain, we announced it, I think, a few months back. We are going into this journey now, going towards fixed and wholesale. It's one of the new areas where we are basically focusing on. It's all part of our foresight strategy, which is moving Zain from a mobile centric, because that's our DNA. That's how we've been known in the past, to become a digital service provider with the new cores. So wholesale is important, connectivity is very important, and for us, of course, to create a place in this new area, innovation is going to be very key, of course. So frankly, just from about a year ago, looking at this area, we can see that basic innovation have touched every aspect of the network, right? So recently we have announced at Zain, Open RAN technology, discussions. So that's something that we are collaborating with some of the operators in the region. I believe this is going to be very key because, of course, it allows space for innovation. It allows us to test new technology. We are going to be running the POC in Kuwait to start, and this will allow also to emerge new ecosystem. So innovation is going to be basically allowed and unlocked through Open RAN. There are new technologies that we're looking at, not new really, but recently, like SD-WAN. This is something that is going to be very important for us, mainly as Zain, because we are new entrant. This is something that will allow us, the quick go-to-market to compare to competition. Other, aspect of innovation that I've seen personally recently is basically within the submarine cables. I think we're going to be announcing a few things, in the next few months. But we've been exposed to a couple of submarine cable projects for which we're going to be part of. And frankly, we've seen, the innovation that is happening, be it in terms of, the equipment that is being used, etc., be it in the number of fiber pairs that you're going to be available now per cable, but also in terms of capacity per fiber pair, right? Now we're talking about almost 20 terabytes per fiber pair, which is extraordinary. So all this innovation, of course, they will offer us, hopefully, as Zain and as a provider, basically the flexibility to increase the capacity within our network, optimize the investments that we're going to make in, and also the time to market.
Thank you. Thank you. And George, I think that ITC, now Salam, also went through a big transformation. And you have been in the firm long enough to witness whatever has happened, right? And you are a veteran of infrastructure. And in that sense, I want to ask you what you have seen and what you will see happening on that front and in your portfolio of technology, and what we should look at carefully, because it's important to. He has been always a very active player in this front of the enterprise and wholesale front. So please tell us your point of view.
The question is not related to the satellite, right?
We started from satellites, and the topic is about the portfolio of technologies, right? How you handle, because of course CES is as a one main technology, and why you guys mix a plethora of technology in your portfolio. So it would be nice to have your perspective on the front. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, as you know, everybody is now thinking about the end customer, whether it's consumer or enterprise, how to bring in the latest connectivity to ensure the productivity for various sectors like entertainment, transport, education, healthcare. So it's all about the customers getting the high-speed connectivity, which is usually the fiber reach. And as you know, here there is the open access system currently in Saudi Arabia for the consumer side. So basically now Salam and all the other operators in Saudi, they can sell fiber to the home to any household in the kingdom. Okay, so now the competition is no longer on who can reach the household, but more on the customer experience and who can provide more the value-added services. So Salam's strategy, along with the Mawarid Media and Communications Group, is more towards the content, the Salam TV, the gaming, the content. What more value-added services we can bring into the end user, whether it is telemedicine, gaming, education, healthcare, etc., all the way to his household. That's on the consumer side. And
you're telling us that you are out of the connectivity game, is moving to the retail content part, or still the connectivity game is?
No, the connectivity will always be part. This is our DNA, So we're doing, as you know, we're now more into the 5G and MVNO. Of course, like the rest of the operators, we're going into fixed wireless 5G. We have to do our obligations toward the CITC and deploy 3,000 sites for the next 3 years to ensure the coverage kingdom-wide. And we also have agreements with other operators who have even a wider reach here above the 5G. We have also now the MVNO license, Mobile Virtual Network Operating License, which is under another legal entity, Salam Mobile, and which will be launching in December. So that's, if you want, on the consumer side. On the enterprise side, of course, more and more we're going towards fiber and software-defined networks and connectivity to reach more and more the remote areas and the point of interest inside Saudi Arabia, and mainly the content hubs, the Saudi Internet Exchange, the content hubs where there will be the main data centers. The data center is newly announced also by the MCIT that is building now by 2024, there'll be 1,300 megawatts of data centers. We are innovating in the connectivity by having more and more caching and localizing content. So we're looking at the main content players and we're looking how to localize them, whether they are video-related content, meaning entertainment content, or if it's gaming content. And also the main conferencing applications like Zoom, Cisco WebEx, Google Meet, etc. We're trying to work with these operators to see how we can also bring in more the video conferencing solutions such as this one, more closer to the end user to reduce the latency. So
working around the connectivity bottleneck to increase the customer experience and
yes.
putting content closer to the end customer. This is what I understand from you. One curiosity, do you use satellite technology in your portfolio?
Yes, we are using it mainly for the remote areas. We have customers that are serving Saudi Aramco. So they are in remote areas of Saudi Arabia. And traditionally, we have been in the satellite business because of the orbit license many years ago, which we continued onwards, especially in the remote areas. We have a hub in Jeddah, and we have a lot of capacity on Intelsat IS-15, which we used to sell to corporates and consumers. So this is still there. We use it also to serve satellite backhaul for certain mobile operators, and to give redundancy for many corporates here who rely also on satellite for disaster recovery solutions. We're also working on some initiatives with the SES and others also related to Internet of Things, NEOM, and many initiatives in the remote areas of the kingdom. Yeah.
Thank you. Now it's time to bring on board Annie. Annie comes from a market where connectivity has been revolutionized from a different aspect, which I consider the market structure. So we heard of the creation of a BNET, Annie, right? So the spin-off of the entire connectivity platform of Batelco in this new function or new entity, which is BNET. And we know that Bahrain has this pivotal fulcrum role in Middle East, being a small country, but yet in a very strategic position. So, Annie, how you play the game of connectivity and face the problem of innovating connectivity from your point of view?
Okay. Well, hi everyone. Thank you for having me in this panel. You've said it really well. With having BNET created in Bahrain, this just puts more pressure on every single operator to be innovative. And for you to stay in this game, you gotta think just beyond the connectivity and not just the pipe itself. And this has made us, at least in Batelco, sit a lot in a room and brainstorm and start looking into more innovations. There are a number of types of innovation, at least this is how we thought of it. We're thinking of business model innovation, how you change a structure of charging the customer or the way you present the business to the customer by changing a business model, structural change. And there are technological change, higher speed, SLAs, and all the other things related to a service change. Batelco has been very successful in covering, I would say, 90% at least of Bahrain in 5G. 5G gives room to our users, whether being enterprise, government, and consumer, to reach very, very high speeds. That has created a big surge on our network, in which is now forcing us to further grow our network beyond Bahrain borders. Okay, in which we are now becoming highly active in submarine space. We haven't been so much into satellite. We don't have a need for a satellite, at least for now. Yes, we have a teleport, but not really in satellite. So this is where we started to get into, let's take that innovative business models up with us on the submarine space, and hopefully will create more and more values to not just the region, not just to Bahraini customers, but to the region. Some of the innovation that we had is we created a neutral data center that we call Global Zone, and we deliberately branded it away from, you know, the theme of Batelco, so that it represents. We've partnered with Amsterdam Internet Exchange, and we created an internet exchange in Bahrain that is currently exchanging around 300 gig of traffic. Such traffic are non-Bahraini traffic. Some of it is to contents that are in here. And what we plan to do next is have more innovation into that neutral data center, you know, pump it in with more capacities, have the partners connected all in that area, and hopefully open up more and more in the region and not just in Bahrain.
So thank you. So after this first round, let me recap what we learned right now. So we have a very different situation from very small country with the total coverage to very big country with still big gaps in coverage, where the connectivity technology mix needs to be optimized, further developed. And we are hearing that there are technology coming from satellite, but also from software networking in the market. But the main element is that we are hearing is a lot of change in the business practice of connectivity. So new regulation, open access, new internet exchange, closer content, new way to serve the retail part. So connectivity innovation is not only technology, but business practices, regulation, and approach to the market. And let me ask you one question to all of you: is what is on the table, you think, of your government, the problem of a total digital inclusion? I remember my days, European days, this was called the digital divide, right? In Middle East, it's more digital inclusion. Is this a topic high in your agenda? You are being requested by government to put out a plan for this. What is your perception on this? Ahmed, you want to touch? You started the conversation.
Yeah, sure. So Andrea, this is a good question, actually. See, out of 7.8 billion world population, if I see from in 2020, 46% still remains unconnected. And with most of this population is concentrated in developing regions. So there are several underlying reasons why 3.6 billion people remain unconnected, with the main ones being affordability of internet services, then the availability of cost of personal electronic devices, the lack of network infrastructure availability, gaps in skills and ability. So everything boils down to the low return on investment in network deployment. And and especially in sparsely populated areas, which are mainly in emerging countries. And connectivity is largely limited to urban areas, often leaving rural areas totally cut off. So in these geographic areas, I would envisage that satellite is the primary technology for filling the gap, as it provides an alternate solution where extending terrestrial networks is uneconomical. So
participating to any program, national program for addressing digital inclusion, Ahmed, in Middle East?
Yeah, so I mean, if I talk globally, I would say that will bring in the context, because we have, in case of our approach, what we have done globally is being replicated by our tier 1 mobile network operators now, and we believe in sort of partnership, where we decided when we actually went on for providing internet service through low latency satellites. At that point in time, we actually decided that it is going directly to the end user versus going with a mobile network operator who has the infrastructure to actually deliver the service, collect the revenues, and give that kind of customer experience to the end user it's a better to go with the mobile network operator. So coming back to your question on where we have actually added value, I would say there's a huge project, Bhakti in Indonesia, where we are the major service providers. Then Mintic in Colombia. Then in the context of the region, we have got 3G, 4G backhaul services in Pakistan. Then and on all the cases, the condition for the use of satellite to support 4G, 5G networks deployments, and these all are, and in addition, I would say the non-geosynchronous or geostationary constellation are also expected to unlock new growth opportunity for latency sensitive applications like cellular backhaul. And here is where our leading partners, I would say, mobile operators like AT&T, Verizon, Orange, Etisalat, in the context of Middle East, they're all well positioned to actually deliver services with our partnership. We bringing this mainstream version of satellite on the table. Yeah.
What else we can do to improve inclusion, digital inclusion? Shra, I don't know if this is high in the agenda of Iraq. It should be eventually. And what are the requirements? What is your ask?
Yes, of course. Yeah, I mean, the mobile operators cannot do this alone. The main driver is the government efforts that should be put in place, like central databases for people, like IP cost, international IP cost, which is very high in Iraq. Nevertheless, talking as Asiacell, the leading telecom operator in Iraq, digital inclusion is responsibility of each single individual in the telecom domain. In countries like ours, with Iraq, the need is there. And the enablers are available with smartphone penetration exceeding 60%. However, the cost of international IP is holding the potential. Plus, we always, in our industry, we ask ourselves, what tools could we develop to ensure that internet access is both sustainable and inclusive for all genders, like for women, for girls, for older people, for remote areas, for people who are living in disabilities, for refugees that our country is suffering from in many areas and in many events. We at Asiacell are giving full attention to data experience. That is the key for digital inclusion. For example, we have coverage, 100% population coverage, and sites, 100% of our sites are 3G. With the launch, very recent launch of 4G, we made sure that we avail our 4G network in all city centers, in districts and sub-districts. I mean, the populated areas, covering about 70% of our sites are now 4G, and still we are investing a lot, and we put big investment to increase 4G as well, to make sure that everyone is connected. Also, we are working with increasing our partnerships with for example, I'll give you names, digital, to boost the digital inclusion, like Google, Facebook, Snapchat, and many other big names to avail their services, to put the caching servers in our network. Also, we have done big investments in data centers. We have tier 3 data centers in Iraq, which is it's very unique. Now we are ready to host many data from government, from corporates in our network, knowing that hosting data outside Iraq is by regulation, it's not allowed. So we are facilitating to our B2B clients and to government availability of data hosting opportunities inside Iraq. Also, like not to mention big part of all initiatives by Iraq government as the e-learning. For example, we are part of, we will always be part of the e-learning, especially after COVID-19. We have launched many initiatives to give free data to the students to enjoy the e-learning and platforms that the government availed for the population. Also many CSRs, for example, we have one big initiative that's been shortlisted in the GSMA this year, which is the e-clinic that we put like in the one of the camps, I mean, in Iraq to secure connectivity to the refugees, the local refugees, with one of the best doctors and best hospitals in Iraq. So plus we are now working with supporting many initiatives with gamers or the e-sport for the first time in Iraq. We are trying to secure lowest ping by giving them priority in our network, also by working with the partners to make their servers, the content closer to the customers of this segment. So I mean, it is critical that the sector continues to invest in order to facilitate the new generation, the generation of network to be deployed. But we are committed as Asiacell in Iraq that we will be supporting the digital transformation and we will support the country to move forward.
So this is important because, I mean, starting with Hamid, I was thinking that, of course, the affordability and the diffusion of connectivity is related to the cost of connectivity, to the availability of all the connectivity. So satellite offer, of course, a omnipresence, and thankfully the industry developed. Now you're saying that even in a situation like Iraq, where the infrastructure is little, there are still many things to do to improve digital inclusion. For example, giving more meaning to connectivity, even simply giving another reason why to buy it, whatever is available, if it's connected to a specific content or healthcare services or whatever, or even women access or elderly access and this. I was thinking that probably in the overall picture, there is one missing element that George was making at the beginning. Probably a more vibrant wholesale sector with the regulation help also to address the problem of digital inclusion. Annie was referring that they have a 99% coverage. So probably Camille, George, Annie, if you want to discuss how important that wholesale model help to fill the gap in digital inclusion. What do you think?
Look, I mean, okay. First, I mean, I want to add to what Shah was saying is basically, inclusion is very key, and from Zain perspective, it's very high up in our agenda. Zain, is actually signatory to the UN Sustainable Development Goals. We're part of the advisory board for a GSMA global effort to launch the principles for driving the digital inclusion. Person of disability. So there is a lot of things that we're doing basically for inclusion. I can go through basically the examples for connectivity. The investment that we're making, we keep doing, be it in Iraq, for instance, despite the challenges that we're facing there. Shah knows about that. Basically, there were a lot of war zones where you have to redeploy again, etc. With the challenges of monetization as well. That is actually it's a big issue. And then of course other countries like Sudan, where we're in terms of coverage as well. I mean, we're covering the entire territory despite the challenges we're facing there in inflation, etc. All that because of, we believe that, we believe in those goals, and we believe that inclusion is going to be key to develop the countries where we operate, and part of our obligation as an operator in our region. Now, I mean, you mentioned, you know, what are the challenges? Frankly, I think regulation is going to be a key one. The regulation, because because you see it in the market we operate. You know, first of all, there are challenges, economical challenges that are happening, right, impacting, you know, the entire basically region, the consumers, the B2B customers, all of them. So there is challenge they're facing. From operator perspective, you know, the costs are going up, connectivity costs, of course, and here, of course, the wholesale hopefully, you know, will play a key role, because, you know, we're aiming to invest heavily to reduce our cost of connectivity. But yet, when you see countries like, you know, Iraq, of course, and even Kuwait, surprisingly, where you know, the IP costs and the cross connect is still very high. You know, maybe
refer to IP transit costs, very high IP transit.
Highest in the world. I mean, unfortunately. So
Yeah.
you know, we're doing our best as an operator, investing. You know, we're always pushing, you know, for the latest technologies. We have 5G in 4 of our countries we operate. You know, in Iraq, we're the first to deploy 4G despite the challenges. So hopefully, you know, the regulators will understand that they need to support us, help us, that we're not basically a cow that, you know, they milking, because, you know, we want to contribute. We want to contribute to the development of our country. We want to make sure that, you know, our communities are inclusive. So yeah, I think regulation is the key one. In terms of wholesale, you're right. It becomes very important for us. Again, it's linked to the entire cost of connectivity. We need to make sure that basically the connectivity is reaching everyone. So that's why now we're not just focusing on mobile. We're not just focusing on the last mile. We're focusing on international connectivity, data centers, the networks, you know, the edge network, all that is become part of our strategy to make sure that we reduce our connectivity. We make sure that we reach, you know, everyone in our networks, and we provide the best customer experience, the low latency, etc. So yeah, it's all tied up, it's all coming together for the same goal, which is, you know, digital inclusion.
George, is open access working properly in KSA? This is giving because is allow you to focus on that part that of service, right? Which is content, quality of service, as Shra was referring to. So what is your experience?
But before that, just I mean, a small word about what was being said a little bit about wholesale and regulation, etc. Well, basically, I think wholesale here is the key because the idea is not that each operator continues in investing in submarine cables and data centers and fiber reach and 5G, etc. Otherwise, we are duplicating infrastructure. Right, and this is very capex intensive, very opex intensive, and then at the end of the day, we care about the consumer, and the consumer needs a service. So it's better that we jointly build the capex together as operators, and when we compete on the services. Having said that, how do you, for example, the idea here is how do you protect the investment of a company, let's say, that has invested in landing in a submarine cable? Minimum investment ticket item is $50 million or $70 million. And such company will insist on having at least exclusivity for the first 3 years of that investment, and then doing open access, for example, for the landing station. This is just one example that can apply to any other investment. Even in the fiber to the home, if you go and invest and wire the homes in a district, you would want exclusivity for at least 2 years, so that you can recover a little bit part of your investment and then open it up for the other operators. So this is always the trade-off that needs to be resolved by the regulators. Maybe the best model is to create an infrastructure company in each country and having it put all the capex in place and put all the prices transparently to all the other operators who become like VNO operators, mobile and fixed. And everybody could start competing on the services instead of competing on the infrastructure. Okay. Now, regarding the open access in Saudi Arabia, yes, it was, I mean, I think a very good initiative by the CITC, and it really took 1 year, in fact, for it to take off, and it really took off extremely well. You know, it took off extremely well. It took it 1 year. We started in July, I believe 2019, deliberating it, and it was really RFS ready for service in July 2020. Now, the systems are properly integrated, the APIs. On the ground, there are some issues, mainly related to the sales on the ground, the door-to-door sales, the way we book orders with the resellers and the partners for each company. Sometimes there are sales hijacking happening from one company to the other, etc., because each operator wants to maintain his customer base. So now, whenever he sees that there's a threat of churn for any customer, he tries to retain him in the current model, because each operator installs in his own district. So he has control over what he's installing, whether it's an existing customer or a new customer in his area. So still, we are working with the CITC and the other operators, mainly Saudi Telecom and Mobile, to try to resolve the issues on the ground. Maybe the best model would have been the VULA, VULA type of local loop unbundling. And this way it will become all digitized, automated. There's no need for a really human intervention. But this requires an investment specifically for the companies that have built fiber to the home since many years. It requires some infrastructure investment to make it happen. One initiative also that needs to happen to help in the wireless deployment is the encouragement of the MOCN, MOCN, and the MORAN, MORNA, active sharing. This will help also in doing more coverage, for the 5G and across the territory, if it's really properly implemented in each country. So this will lessen the investment. Each operator can invest in different regions, and then they can do spectrum sharing and share also the active equipment. Yeah.
This is exactly the model, Ani, that we are testing in Bahrain at the end, right?
Exactly.
So, we are familiar with the BNET model. What we don't know, what is the challenge of George is even envisaging something similar, so an infrastructure company and providing VULA services. If I'm not wrong, this is exactly what the BNET is doing.
Exactly. BNET is covering the whole Bahrain. We have an advantage in Bahrain that we are, it's a small country. So it's not as difficult as Iraq or Saudi Arabia to expand your fiber to every single house. So now BNET is really taking care of this. From our side, this has also helped us to stay focused on our digital initiatives, in which we are running too fast in them. We have also a unit that looks after digital initiatives, like the fintech and all that kind of thing, supporting the government vision in achieving these initiatives. Other initiatives is that almost, I would say, all enterprises in Bahrain, at least they have one service on the cloud today. Bahrain has been too fast in going on the cloud. You might have also heard, yeah, it's too fast. Yeah,
too fast or very fast?
I would say very fast. Let's put it this way, okay? Bahrain has been very successful in having Amazon being in Bahrain, which has really shifted change. I've started to notice some people are so much now more of Cisco CCNA into Amazon certified, more of network into virtualization. I've seen change even in people, how they think about what to study in university. I think these kind of things has engaged the community to a great extent. And from our side as Batelco, the infrastructure, somebody is worrying about it, which is a great thing for us. We are focusing on the international infrastructure and moving into the content and digitizing as much as possible lifestyle of our end customers.
So I feel that in the group here, there is a sort of a consensus that in the future there will be centralized technology platform, let's say terrestrial, satellite, fixed and wireless, and more focus on service. On services, and this will probably help both inclusion and also quality of connectivity. Now it's interesting that as we are speaking, we are receiving some questions, and I will not wait. So Shra, I've seen that you receive a question, and that refer to the program of digital transformation. And the question is whether whether you have any preference in the medium for that, being wired or wireless. And of course, the gentleman, or I think, I don't know, this is a lady, is asking whether you are available to meet and discuss investment in the area. But what is interesting to our debate is the technology mix. Yes, this is the scope of our debate today.
Yes, of course, anyone would like to connect to me. My email can be shared in a separate discussion. But regarding wired or wireless, for telecom operators, the license of Iraq in Iraq is for the only for mobile, not fixed. So currently our license does not cover fixed. There are other licenses provided to other the providers to fixed wireless. But we have MiFi, and we are providing like internet through MiFi devices, Wi-Fi, MiFi devices to home, that people can use at home or at offices, and so on.
But do you have any preference there in the medium that you're using, that you want to use or not?
Preference, you mean?
With fixed fiber versus wireless, for example, because it's a never-ending debate in the telecom industry.
Yes, actually, of course, fiber, nothing beats fiber for the customer experience, but we are not allowed by license to provide end-to-end fiber to the customer. We use it to guarantee our connectivity only.
So again, regulatory is stops or limits your intervention in this.
Exactly, yeah. So it is provided, fiber to home is not allowed by operators. It is, the license is for other providers. But we are using fiber to guarantee our network.
Yes. So, and I want to jump on another question that we received. It is about the 5G networks. So here the question is that there is, as the writer says, there is a perception that 5G is being built faster in GCC than the rest of the world. So pandemic didn't slow down the build out of 5G networks in the region. So if you think in Qatar, Bahrain, UAE, KSA, Kuwait, right, the coverage of 5G network is massive. The numbers that we are hearing is incredible. Is that so the writer and who is asking this question is asking, which are the main challenges that mobile operators are facing with the 5G, being ARPU, revenue, capex, and how satellite can help MVNO to fill the gap? There is anybody that has an answer to this question? Camille, I don't know if you want to try, or George, Annie.
Yeah, sure. Look, I mean, the challenges, I think there are plenty. Of course, I mean, the benefit of 5G, we all know them. You know, there are plenty use cases, you know, latency, et cetera, et cetera. Challenges, because that's the question. I think there are plenty, because monetization is an issue, right? I mean, it's a huge investment that the operator is making. So monetizing at the end of the day, it's going to be a challenge. And I think that George as well, the comment of George, you know, how can you reduce the cost? How can you create infrastructure companies, etc. You have the devices initially; they were not available, but now we have. You know, what else? I mean, of course, I mean, you talked about, you know, the you know, how the satellites can help. I think for now, it's, you know, the countries where we've seen 5G are countries, you know, that are quite developed in terms, you know, fixed infrastructure. At least it's available. So I'm not sure satellites, whether they can play a role at this point, maybe now with the changes that are happening in the area, maybe in the future. But for now, mainly 5G, you know, we've seen basically a race towards basically making sure that all the sites are connected to the fiber optics to be able to provide the best 5G experience. So I don't see, you know, the satellites yet playing a role, but I think I'm sure it's going to come soon with all, you know, the development within that area. So yeah, challenges, just to recap, you know, monetization, you know, monetization is the first one. Spectrum as well. Sometimes spectrum as an investment. Still, that's another challenge.
Ahmed, you were saying that in reality, CES is very much involved in the backhaul of towers, right? In Pakistan, you were referring 3G and 4G towers. And Camille is telling us that the 5G is more complicated. The backhaul is very demanding, has high requirement. What is your perspective on this?
Yeah, so thanks. See, there's a general perception that satellites has a costly solution, right? So it's changing gradually with the technology push and also with the innovative business models and solutions that industry is embracing now. So there is technology push for more productive satellites and ground infrastructure. We have seen industry pushing for substantially more cost-effective, powerful, and flexible space and ground infrastructure. For example, standardization, reusable launch vehicles. This is bringing the capex involved with putting the constellation at much lower value. Then enhanced flexibility through digital processing, beamforming, adoption of SD-WAN, flat panel and antennas, etc. in case of direct to tower connectivity. So see, and then the second would be new commercial models and lower TCO solutions. And we have actually worked out the, I would share with you, we have tested 5G over our medium Earth orbit satellites and standalone 5G. So it's not, the results are phenomenal. And then we have that pay as you grow or revenue share or OpEx based managed services model developing. So, and all in all, if we just, to your question, to all of us, we have successfully been able to hold our place in certain geographies where the competition or the collaboration with terrestrial was a huge challenge. Mm-hmm. And as I said in our introduction part, that with Empower, we really believe that we will go mainstream. So that is the real transformation, I would say, which we are aiming for. Yeah. So on specifically again, the impacts of 5G, how it is relevant and how satellites is relevant. We can talk about it. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Back to you, Andrea.
Yeah. I have another question also that I want to address. This is directed to George. And the recent changes to ITC Salam strategy is hinting the writer is an anticipation of a switch of strategy from fiber to 5G.
The question here that was put on the panel, right?
Yes. If there's a switch in focus from FTTH to 5G.
No, we are, okay, first the National Broadband Project as it was, the 520,000 household is finished, as you know. So we have completed that project now and it's live, and the other operators, STC and Dawiyat, also have completed their part. We are still working with the MCIT on additional households. And in fact, the Mawarid Media Communications Group also got another license, infrastructure license called the TLS Technology Links Saudi, to work on more and more on infrastructure projects. And they're working with the MCIT on additional households, if I may say. But this depends, of course, on the conditions, of the deployment. As I said, we have to always study the return on investment in the area, etc. Regarding the 5G, this is a license obligation. We are keen to keep our 50 megahertz spectrum in the 3.5 gigahertz range. And for that, we need to comply with the CITC regulation and have, coverage, 3,000 base stations in the next 3 years. Yeah. And we're working with other operators on, on active sharing. trying to explore.
Your short answer to the question is that still you're not, I mean, FTTH is part of your core, right? So in yes, and you are complementing your access strategy. And now just we arrive a question, I think, from you, Ahmed, that is asking whether satellite, which is fundamental for the car industry, and especially in an IoT scenario, right? Because car eventually have a high requirement in terms of mobility, and satellite technology offers certainly a mobility solution. So the question is if there is any plan to target the business segment, on if there are alliances on the horizon between supplier of 5G and fiber to be part of this revolution. Maybe you can start answering this question.
Yeah. So see, as if we break this problem up into modules, I would say we as satellite industry, and specifically as SCS, we have successfully tested 5G, as I shared. So you know, again, it's about you know, really connecting the edge, and that is something which we are looking at the partnerships with mobile network operators to deliver, and we connect them through our you know, low latency, high throughput satellites,
which are a reality as of now.
Yeah, which is a reality for the last 7 years, and I mean with our O3B, we call it O3B Classic now, because we are coming up with O3B Empower, and with Empower we have additional flexibility of you know, shaping beams, you know, making it more focused, and then you know, having beams within beams. And it is really about, as we call it, door-to-door connectivity. Yeah.
Thank you. And now that we are looking to the, we go to the last part of our debate. Think of the future. What is a top mind innovation or trend that you think will really shape the connectivity industry? What is the one thing or two things? And can you start guessing on what you think is the next big thing coming, really, that we should pay attention in the connectivity domain?
Obviously, speed, latency, and high capacity are always the challenge. No matter what technology comes later, it's always the question of these three. So this is exactly what we're seeing. 5G is just 4G with higher capacity, faster. 6G will be even faster than 5G. It keeps on rolling. So it's always the game of speed, capacity, and. But the other thing is, again, I'm going to be mentioning this, especially in our region where we have high charges for example, cross connections. Some operators don't allow other operators to interconnect and all that kind of thing. So the business model is also the driver for the success of any new technology where there is no constraint. I echo Camille and Tra about the high cost for IP transit, where it shouldn't be the case. I mean, every year to year, it's like dropping to a great extent. So it shouldn't be a problem that they have, but it's just a business model today. Yeah.
Thank you. Any other contribution, or Shra or Camille, on the future that you expect?
About the future, yeah, if you allow me, about what are the innovations in future, like
what is coming? What are the trends to look at?
I think artificial intelligence, definitely it's coming, and cognitive capabilities. Also, I see real-time analytics it is at the intelligent edge. Also, this is also very important where you need data analytics to make your IoT solution complete. Also to add like more secure IoT devices. I see security and cybersecurity is a must for every industry, telecom industry, because you will have more connectivities, more connections to partners. So definitely security, more security is what we need to shape in our technology, and we need to be ready for that. I think these are the main from my side. Of course, I'll echo the others that speed, we have to keep the speed of our network up to the customers, increasing demand.
So you're suggesting more intelligent connectivity, more intelligent, more analytical connectivity in this sense.
Yeah.
Yes. Sorry, Camille, we cut you off. So
No, that's fine. Look, I mean, I'm just joining my colleagues here, but I'm going to add maybe, we're going to see more high capacity submarine cables. Frankly, I've been struck up by this, Martin, because I've seen how the changes are happening. We've seen cables or fiber pairs reaching 20 terabytes. So I think we're going to see more and more of that. Well, of course, we're gonna see a lot of those new routes, right, that provide lower latency through to the Middle East, and we've seen some cables are already basically challenging the Telecom Egypt, or the Egypt crossing. We're going to see a lot of edge networks and localization of content. Content will come more and more. We've seen it in Bahrain, we've seen it in the Emirates, but it's going to come more and more to the region, and that will provide, of course, the low latencies. And then, of course, the software-defined networks and programmable networks. This is going to provide flexibility, real-time network management, and lower costs. These are, I think, the three main things that we're going to see happening in the next few years in the region.
Okay, the last word on how the satellite industry wants to contribute to this evolution.
Yeah, thanks. So I will just take a minute of yours and everybody also on the question that you had asked earlier. So see what we are envisioning. There will be a universality of broadband. Truly global high-speed connectivity should become a reality with both terrestrial and SATCOM advancements. Then there will be focus of investment, which will move from US to Asia, Middle East, and Africa, where nearly 7 billion people are living. See, then there will be global wide adoptions of new connectivity solutions like 5G. There will be big five cloud tech companies, Amazon, Google, Facebook, Microsoft, Apple, playing a major role in connectivity domain. Companies will need to transform their business to address the highly disruptive, challenging, and evolving market and competitive environment. What satellite industry and SCS is doing is the right thing, that reduce our long-term reliance on that part of the business which faces systematic decline. We are, while simultaneously recognizing where the market is evolving towards and investing in building, acquiring, and partnering for the right capabilities that will allow us to control our mutual or our combined destiny in that future. Thanks.
Thank you. So I don't know if we have more questions from the attendees, so that we can deep dive any topic, or if Tony wants to have a final word on the panel.
No, in fact, I don't know. You asked a question previously. I don't have anything. Just I want to say thank you, because really it's a very interesting panel, and thank you for all speakers. You did all well. In fact, I was enjoying. I was with you all time with all details. So, but Andrea, also thank you very much the way you're moderating. Okay, and we hope to see you again all soon. Okay, and by the way. We can meet again. We'll have December 8th, the summit in Dubai, and I would like to invite all of you. You will receive invitation, okay? So, and we can maybe also work with you with any panel. We'll have a full day content there. Okay. And thank you for SES also for making this possible today. We're partner for a long time now with SES, and it make really a successful cooperation. Thank you, SES. George, you want to say something? It seems.
Yeah, I think on the just a final word on the connectivity side is to have one day the same device, the mobile that can switch directly from a mobile network 4G, 5G to a satellite link whenever.
Very good, George. I suggest that Salam will sponsor also this day, and we'll make a full webinar. And okay, so now I'm counting on Salam for next webinar. We can make it anytime. Okay.
All right.
We're very active in this. Okay. Maybe also Camille then will do something with us.
Sure.
No, really.
We have the right time. We're gonna do it at the right time. Hopefully, when we have some announcements.
Yeah, we will discuss anytime. I'm all yours. Thank you very much, everyone.
No, but thank you, Tony, and thank you, Andrea. Thank you, the rest of my colleagues here. It was a really pleasure to be with you guys.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tony. Thanks, Andrea. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everyone. Have a nice day.
You too.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Thanks.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Bye-bye. Thank you.